everyone. I'm going to talk about manifesting. I don't know if that's a good angle or not, but we'll see. Yes, manifesting. How to manifest things in your life. So manifesting starts with letting go. Okay, so when like readers and stuff like that, they say, oh, let go of the old so new can come in. This kind of just, I think you think people or relationships when you hear things like that, which I think can distract you a lot from what the actual manifesting happiness. Okay, so if this is what we're talking about, maybe that how we get there. So it's not necessarily letting go of people, places or things. What it starts with is internal. So letting go of the trash talking yourself, letting go of telling yourself that you can't do things. Like, I think with manifestation, it's very important to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that I can do this. You know, this is my ship. I'm going to run it and I'm going to do it. And you know, sometimes telling yourself that you can do something is more harder than telling yourself that you can't, because it's quite easy to give up and tell yourself that you can't do it. I'll never make it. It's never going to happen. You know, like when we release our dreams and things like that, we give up on our goals because we're too overwhelmed with things that are going on, that we can't actually keep up with things. I think within this instance, it's very important to recognise the 3D and the 5D. I'm not happy with this camera like this, but maybe it's because the sun's on me. So yeah, I think a lot of manifestation starts with the releasing of the 3D. Okay, so 3D and 5D, it's just a theory, okay? It can't be proven that there are different dimensions and things per se. But we know that how we react and how we develop and evolve are, you know, stages. So in the 3D, you could find that you obsess about things quite a lot, like you check things quite a lot. This could come out in even, have you locked the door? You'll go back and find it if you've locked the door or not, or obsessing over, sometimes when you go to work you can feel an anxious feeling and things like that, like the feelings of something's going to happen. So, you know, things like this, like we kind of go into a spiral. So with the 5D, it's all about the detachment. It's all about the returning the energy to yourself, making sure that within yourself, you know, I'm going to walk in with my head held up high. I've got nothing to hide. You know, doing my best, and, you know, like give yourself that grace to kind of be positive to yourself. So yeah, with the 3D, sometimes if you're waiting for your manifestations to come in, you could be putting your life on hold. So I know in life, a lot of people hold on to relationships and things like that, past people. And I know people that go 10 years on their own because they have waited for somebody to come back, but the person never came back. And they kind of wasted, you know, a long period of time where they were in this 3D loop of obsessing over the person, waiting for the person, then going through resentment from the person, and then trying to control the outcome of the relationship with this person. And this could take, you know, this has taken a large part of their life where they could have actually been detaching from the person, living their life, being grateful for things that they've got in their life. Hi, Javier. Hi, Jerry. And Kai Parat. Hello. Hope you guys are all doing well today, by the way. We're just talking about manifesting. Sometimes, you know, people say, oh, you need to let go of the past before you can move forward with the future. But it's important to know that this starts with ourselves. of the releasing of pain, anguish, resentment, things like this that we're holding on to, negative self-talk, this kind of thing. It's important to realize that, you know, these are the things that are stopping our minds because we're giving up on ourselves. And it's very important that we don't give up on ourselves. So yeah, sometimes this can cause a lot of emotions as well, where we kind of feed into the emotion. So yeah, surrendering a lot of these energies. Let me see, because I did have some examples. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be a manifesting live stream. So yeah, I think the fears as well that we have that come along with releasing. So it's like we almost have to give up the comfort of this thing that, you know, like I was saying, people go 5-10 years waiting for a person to come back, and in that 5 or 10 years, you know, they could have lived their life, they could have found someone new, they could have seen themselves in a different place. So hi, B3 Bindu, buddy. Yeah, I'm just talking about manifestation and how it's important to stop waiting and start living, to stop obsessing over things and start detaching from things, realizing that your energy, your wholeness isn't dependent on somebody else being in your life, or your energy isn't dependent on people projecting things onto you, then you having to prove yourself to people. Manifestation is kind of like an internal thing that starts internal. Like people say, oh, you need to let go of this and that, but it's like, what do we let go of? Let's be specific of what we're letting go of. So we're letting go of negative self-talk. We're letting go of resentment that we may find ourselves being in from missing opportunities, because we have waited so long for something to come through. Being impatient sometimes when you're waiting for your manifestations. It's important to stay focused and keep going, because when you think that something's not happening, ultimately you just maintaining focus and moving forward with self, just giving love to yourself and compassion to yourself as you give to other people daily. I'm sure people do it daily. You know, we always are giving to other people. Like we always saying hello, hi, you know, how are you? Where's, you know, our sense for people to ask us, we kind of don't really need it because we're so focused on doing it for other people. But what we're not understanding is when we're there on our own, we're probably very picking ourselves apart as such. And it's important to kind of nip this in the bud so that then we can start to focus on, okay, what do I actually want to manifest? Now I'm grounded, now I'm more calmer, what do I actually want to manifest? And then without the worry and the doubt, the like analysis paralysis, hello Mohammed, the analysis paralysis of the situation will ease off, and then you'll be able to gain some clarity as to how you can move forward. So this is the Star People card. This is an Oracle card, okay? So Star People. So this is telling you that you're not alone in the universe. You can connect to your ancestors for guidance, for help. Connect to God, whichever pertains to your specific religion that helps you, you know, daily to be kind to yourself, to turn your compassion inwards, to give to yourself. You know, it's important to remember as well that we are all in this bubble of energy, and it's called like the collective consciousness, but we're all in this bubble of energy together. And this is why sometimes empaths can feel other people's pain who are in the bubble, because it's this is how the auric debris is cleared. So auric debris is like negative energy and things like that, that are released into the, and this is how empaths help clear the auric debris, because empaths actually transmute the energy by taking it on and then returning to the world. You know, it can come through transformation of mind, transformation of thoughts, a glow up, just some luck that may come your way once you've transmuted the energy. Something good could happen to you, you know, and these are the benefits of taking on the load for empaths and people who are sensitive to energy, seers, empaths, healers, you know, things like this. So this card says, let the stars help you. So this says, a NASA study has estimated that there are up to 10 billion planets similar to Earth in our galaxy. Something like 500,000 of these exoplanets have since been discovered. The researchers assume that there are 95% probability that such a planet is located at a distance of around just 4 light years from our sun. Animate beings exist on other worlds, and we are connected to them through the miracle of life. So there's like 5,000 exoplanets, the stars. You know, these are things that are seem unbelievable to the human mind. Like, we can't believe the expanse of space, and space is actually still expanding. If you Google it, space is still expanding right now. It's not even finished yet. So where, you know, is it going to stop? So we don't know how big this thing can go. And maybe this is a message for you to say, if you do kind of calm the thoughts, calm the feelings, okay, with the negative self-talk and the releasing of anger, releasing of animosity towards resentment, things like this. Once we start to release this, the possibilities that could happen for yourself, you'll start to see a difference, probably I'd say within a few days. If you meditated for 3 days and did grounding meditation for like 3 days, every morning and every night before you went bed, I can possibly guarantee that after 3 days you would probably feel different in your thinking, your thought process, the perspective of yourself, how you see yourself, because ultimately projections and things like that, people like us to see ourselves differently from how we are. And this is a projection of people, from people that you know, want us to kind of be in this energy. You know, sometimes when you're in dark cycles and anxiety and depression and things like that, you'll be surprised how many people kind of like it when you're like that, in that situation. And it's horrible to think, because nobody wants to think like that, but it's true. Like, you'll actually be surprised of how many people like it when you're in a downward spiral, because it means that they're kind of on top or over you. And this is where it's like in addictions and things like that. When people have addictions, people who are in their circle of the addictions don't actually like it when they start to come out and better themselves and release themselves from the tie of the people and the places and the addictions. They remove themselves. People actually don't like it when they start to recover, because they don't like the fact that they're doing better than them. And then it will ultimately become a, you're not friends with us no more, you can't sit here. And this is then another projection, that they'll literally project badness for you, and they can spend years projecting this badness on people, years and years of wasting of their life. Instead of living their life, they're focused on another person and destroying their life, and they're not living their life. And it's crazy to me how this can go on. And then they can be like, oh, nothing good ever happens to me, this, you know, blah blah blah. But if you manifest something within the right place and the right time and trust yourself to the universe, you know, you surrendering yourself to the process of switching from the 3D to the 5D. So yeah, you're releasing the obsession, you're releasing the resentment, of we've said, but ultimately, you know, the waiting, like, you know, you'll be surprised how many years people can wait for something bad to happen to somebody just so that they can say, ha, yes, got ya. And it's like, it's just, honestly, it's alien to me. Alien. I do not understand the mentality of people like that, because it's so wasteful. You're literally wasting your life preying on somebody else's downfall. Your life could be crumbling around you, and you're still sat there wishing that so-and-so would, you know, have something bad happen to them or something like that. You know, heaven forbid that it actually does. But, you know, this is the opposite of manifestation. This is people manifesting bad things for people. Well, we're trying to manifest just probably at first peace within ourselves, then to love ourselves, then to be okay enough to get out into the world and not feel absolutely anxious every day, absolutely like I can't even step out into the world. And then this, you know, while you're making these steps forward, this is what I'm saying, you're actually bringing yourself out, and the universe will reward you because you're surrendering, because you'll be learning about yourself, you'll be growing about yourself, you'll be changing. And this is all the universe wants for people, you know, like it doesn't want you to be in the 3D loop of waiting, putting things on hold, choosing, you know, to stay in like a bad dynamic. Controlling everything, manipulation, trying to get what you want, winning at any cost. You know, these are all things that are sent to kind of send us back, keep us in the loop, keep us in the 3D loop. So everything's so overwhelming that we can't figure a way out. So yeah. I'm going to use my tiles now. So, I do not like the way this camera is like that. How can I get it out of the sun? No. Ugh, it's just the sun is just... Oosh. Is that better? That's a bit better. Right. Hope everyone is well today. Anyway, hope you're doing well on your manifesting journey. If you are trying to manifest things at the moment, hope it is going well for you. This is just some advice of how you can get a little bit of a help along. So, I'm going to ask my tiles now anyway. Okay, so let's see. We've got C, G, S, K, E, B, W and Q. So we're talking about manifestation. So we've got so, S-E-W, we've got Beck, I need another wow. So we've got Joe. We've got seek. A week. So it could take you a week to manifest whatever it is that you're seeking. We've got geek. So someone could think that you're a bit geeky or something like that, or you could seem geeky if you do already read books and things like that, or have a lot of knowledge about things. People could see you as geeky. We've got a bee. So bees work hard. And web. The web that we're kept in. The web. The internet. The spider's web. Trapped. Feeling like a victim. Not knowing the outcome. Feeling like you have to plead. That type of thing. But yeah, ultimately you're just manifesting happiness instead of heartbreak, I guess. Is what is important. Yeah, so that you can have your Ace of Cups, so that you can have emotional fulfillment. Not feeling not loved, not feeling anxious about a relationship or yourself. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. So it's important that we can start to complete these thoughts, doubts and feelings within ourselves. And we see the illusion that we're being held in, which is the 3D reaction, and we need to be stepping into the 5D soul decisions instead of the 3D reactions. Actually making decisions, looking in the mirror and seeing yourself and your wounds that need healing. What are the wounds that need healing? 2 just popped out there. So you need strength to release the burdens, the 10 of Wands and the Strength card. And it's releasing the burdens within ourselves, within our minds, you know, through our thought processes, changing our perspective and helping ourselves see ourselves for who we truly are, and not letting people kind of dictate to us who we should be by caring about what other people think and things like this. Like, it's important that we actually see who we are and what we like and what we want. Give ourselves some compassion in the way that we give every day to other people, I guess. So I'm just going to use a witch's rune now. Yeah. You know, it's hard to release pain. You know, sometimes if we looked ourselves in the mirror and told ourselves that we can do it, it's a lot harder than saying, no, I can't do it, I give up, too hard. And that's the easy route. So the rings could be significant. The rings is a rune with a very bonding feel to it. Typically associated with the colour gold, some of its meanings could be circumstances involving others, two things or people, interacting with others, this and that, partners, friendships, the bonds between two subjects, shared interests, the result of a partnership, a new bond forming or an old bond breaking. So the old bond breaking is going to be the bond or the cycle that you're felt tied to keep yourself going round in, like in romance or relationships, starting to heal within, nurturing yourself, caring for yourself. And this is what I was saying in the beginning about when readers and people say, oh, you need to release the past so that something new can come in. It's okay saying that as such a broad, subject, but what I'm trying to just do today is just to show you how you can start manifesting happiness by starting with yourself. So this rings card coming out, and it's saying an old bond breaking and a new forming. This is quite significant because it's saying that this will be the result. The results of you doing this will allow you to not feel manipulated in situations, will help you to not feel pain in situations. You know, you're ultimately going to wake up and see yourself for who you are, seeing the unhealed wounds, and then start by, like I said, meditate for 3 days. Do a gratitude meditation for 3 days. I can guarantee after that 3 days you will see things differently. Perspective of yourself will change. It's how we see ourselves, because there's so many people out there projecting on us as they're telling us they want us to see ourselves differently. They don't want us to see ourselves as for who we are. This is what I was saying, when you're in groups of people and stuff and they're doing bad stuff and you don't want to be involved in it anymore, so you choose to take yourself away from the situation. This is where people start to retaliate against you. They start to push you out or project negative thoughts against you just because you want to do something better for yourself. People don't like it. People don't like it when you're trying to change, because it ultimately means they're either going to have to face themselves or they're going to have to remove themselves from your life because they're not willing to change. And change is very empowering for people involved in the manifestation process, because manifestation ultimately is change, but it's how you process the negativity at the moment as to how you're going to start to manifest the happiness. Because you manifesting happiness is you can manifest $1 million, but it's not going to fall in your lap. You need to manifest things that are tangible, that are within your grasp currently. Keep in alignment with what you're manifesting. Don't manifest $1 million if you know that you're going to blow it in 5 minutes, because then ultimately what first you need to manifest is a good relationship with money. Don't manifest love or relationship if you've got control issues or you like to manipulate people, because all you're going to manifest is a dodgy relationship. You're not ready for that. Manifest self-love, manifest happiness within yourself first, so that you're not letting someone else dictate to you your happiness. This is what I think is important to understand, harmony within yourself. So I'm just going to get a rune oracle card. These are actually the Witch's Oracle runes. Love these cards, they're amazing. Get some really good answers. So, what do we need to surrender? What do we need to surrender? I thought that one was going to come out. It wanted to. So yes, this is manas. This is humanity. This is a humanitarian card. So turning the compassion within yourself. Okay, being intelligent within yourself, knowing your own thoughts and feelings, using your intelligence to move forward. This is why the geek letters came out, because it's saying that you're intelligent, you're a geek, but you're intelligent, you're aware. You're aware of society. You're aware of the 3D and the 5D loop. You know about this. This is not something that you don't know about. Everybody knows about it, but how we understand it is very different. And you're learning. You're living and learning. You're going to stop choosing to be in the loop, and you're going to start becoming the new version of yourself, shedding the old thoughts, the old feelings of yourself that are not true. Giving yourself the same credit that we give to other people every day. Trusting ourselves, trusting the connection. Just back then. Sorry, I am quite into this because I am really, rooting for people to get it done, to get out there, to get, the manifestations going. But this is how I want to make it easier for you, so you don't feel so overwhelmed, and tell you the starting point of where it should start from. So yeah. I'm going to use the Stranger Things deck now. Yeah, so stop putting your life on hold waiting and start becoming the person. So the Nine of Swords to the King of Wands. You could be quite handsome, and you might think that you're not handsome. You could be quite have a nice body, and you might think that you don't. It's how you see yourself. It's the perspective. You need to start seeing yourself in the right perspective, so that you can release the swords that you've been probably sticking in yourself, whilst everyone else has been sticking swords in you as well. And then you're coming out feeling why you feel like you're absolutely flipping drained, disorganized, ain't got a flipping clue what day it is, overwhelmed, overworked. And it's like you're not releasing the pressure from yourself. You're adding the pressure to yourself. Yeah, knowledge is power. Knowledge is the truth. What you believe, your perspective of how you believe, is very hard to change once you've ingrained it in your mind. Once you've ingrained that belief, it's very hard to change. But it's going to be a persistent job. It's going to be a consistent thing. So why is the King of Wands here? Ooh. We got the Five of Cups. Yes, you're not seeing. You're feeling kind of defeated, like you're not seeing the potential, feeling defeated. Where's that book gone? There it is. Yes. But there is a ray of hope. There's a shining light within us all that we're able to activate. And it's just getting down to that layer. Getting down to that level within. Think of yourself as an onion. You've got many layers, and each layer needs deciphering and going down. And these are your houses in your star sign. So the houses in your star sign is each level. So your first house to 12th house. each level of your personality, each layer of your personality. So maybe it might be helpful for people to find out the houses. So if what's your emotional house, things like that. You may think things can't get any worse. Perhaps you've been forced to take a job at the mall instead of go to college. As demeaning as your current circumstances may feel, hope is there if you're willing to seek it. Try to take a step back and examine how you're handling your current loss or situation. Are you focusing more on what's missing than what you actually have? Pull yourself out of the negativity and shift your attention to how you can get things back on track. So my advice for that would be the 3 days of the gratitude or the grounding meditation. Because you're going to realize what you have got instead of what you haven't got. This is where we're shifting. We're shifting the negativity. We're shifting our attention. We're not putting things on hold anymore. We're moving forward. We're becoming. We're moving into the 5D. The soul decision. What we want. The highest good. Pull yourself out of the negativity and shift your attention to how you can get things back on track. So you're going to have to come up with a plan. You're going to have to come up with a set plan, even just put an alarm in your phone or something like that, and just, you know, every day. Remember, these messages are for people who are trying to manifest. If you're not trying to manifest, these messages are not for you, because you're going to think I'm telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm helping people manifest happiness in their life so that they can then move forward to progress to other things, areas in their life. When we say manifest, it's like we're trying to get, oh, it's just this, but it's not. We have to manifest things that are in alignment, and many people want to do it but don't understand how to do it. So this is why I'm just talking on this today. If you're not trying to manifest anything, then don't bother. Ace of Swords, that's the truth. That is all confirmation, double confirmation of what I'm trying to do today. Yeah, King of Cups, we're just trying to master our emotions. We're trying to stay focused. We're looking out onto the horizon. We're bettering ourselves. We're trying to do the best that we can to move forward. Right. Where am I going to go? Yeah, if you like my readings, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down, but tap it twice. Hook, stuck, confused. We're hooked, we're stuck, and we're confused. And this is where I'm here to help you out of the loop. Or try to anyway. That's my job. Right, how can we move forward? Awareness. Okay, so we move forward. We understand our thought process. Okay, remembering that people's behavior does not determine what we do. Okay, understanding what our value is. So it says what value, and their behavior. So other people's behaviors don't impact you, does not decide on what you're doing. You're not going to go, oh, because you're doing that, I'm doing that. That's not what we're doing here. And then how do you perceive yourself, and how do they perceive you? So this is what we were saying about when people are trying to project things onto you, that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that you're this, that you're that. They're telling you how you should see yourself, and this is not what we're doing. This is not how we see ourselves. I just heard a shout then. So people ain't going to like it when you're going to try to start doing your better for yourself, because they're going to get pissed off and angry. They're going to be annoyed that you're moving out, that you're moving forward, that you're looking out onto the horizon to go and do something different. How dare you do something different? Who do you think you are? You think you're better than me? No. Oh my gosh, gal. Woo, rebuke that energy. Definitely rebuke that energy. Hold tight. 1 second. Something just shouted. Yeah. No. We're going to get out of that energy, and this is how we're going to move forward and help ourselves to get out of that energy. Because what you're doing is not their problem, and what they're doing is not your problem. It doesn't matter. Head down, focus on yourself. Whatever anyone else is doing is what they're doing. You can't change other people, and they ultimately can't change you either. So that's why it's important to remember that. Stop giving away your power. So this is what we're doing. Every day we're giving to other people. We're asking other people if they're okay. We're doing for other people without even asking. It's just the 3D loop. You know, you go home, you make your dinner, you feed your kids, you put the bath on, you bath the kids, make the bed, put the kids to bed. It's the cycle. Seems like it's not doing anything. Obviously we have to do things in the 3D, but then when it comes to the 5D, it's more of a spiritual prospect. So it's more of the veil, like how we are perceiving ourselves, but also how we are being fed this illusion that this is all we can do, and it's not true. So just take some of that back for yourself. Give to yourself. Give compassion and love to yourself. Make sure that you're having your time to pamper yourself, to just relax, just chill out. Do something that you want to do instead of like constantly like go, go, go what everyone else wants to do. And then the ego. So this is why it's very hard to face things, because the ego is almost like a protection blanket, okay? It stops us from committing psychological suicide, basically. It stops us from going into the downfall. The ego kind of helps you to stop getting hurt, to stop feeling stop feeling negative thoughts, stop feeling like I don't care. It's like that protection of I don't care, but then deep down you know that you do care, so this is where you're not facing the problem. I don't know. But it's your protection. It will say, don't trust that person, they're just going to hurt you. Don't do that. Don't go and venture out into the world. You're going to get hurt. Because the unknown is what fears the ego. It's what feeds the ego, is the fear of you not being able to realize and detach, of how to return the energy to yourself, to give yourself, to depend on yourself, be present with yourself, bring yourself back to self. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, so it's just important that we stop giving away our power. Stop trying to fix other people when we're the ones who probably need it a little bit. Especially if the other person isn't trying to help themselves. That can be very draining. We can all have friends, you know, who kind of do things that we don't agree with. And the only thing that you can do is kind of be there for them, but it can be kind of draining because you can think like, oh no, not this again. And that's where you can feel a bit overwhelmed in the friendship or even in love, where you're like, I don't really feel like I can deal with it because it's upsetting for me to watch you like this. I don't know. I don't know why that's coming out. But yeah, it's definitely time to move from waiting to becoming at the moment. So we're not waiting, We're actually in the moment, moving forward, pushing forward, aligning ourselves with what we can manifest right now. Not just manifesting $1 million and expecting it to fall in your lap. There's a process, and it starts within yourself. All it takes is for you to turn your love and compassion inwards, give to yourself, be fair to yourself, start to release the projections, the illusions that we're under, that we're not good enough and things like that, and actually, you know, align ourselves with how we can move forward with the progress that we need to take to start feeling better, to start feeling happier, to start feeling like we can be ourselves and not feel anxious every time we walk into a room, that we can walk in a room with our head held high. So yeah. So what's the advice, Spirit? Overanalyzing, I think. Analysis paralysis. I love that saying. Analysis paralysis. Yeah, so peace. You are unwavering in the face of fear. You come to your senses and embrace the challenge. You are determined to think with gentle and calm thoughts. You find inner silence and become a manifestation of peace. A manifestation of peace. Ah! Let's go. Let's go. Choosing the light, choosing the energy, gratitude. Giving thanks for just the small things. Look, giving thanks that you've got a fucking pint of milk. I'm not being funny, but when I was a kid, we didn't even have a pint of milk with it. You know, giving thanks for a pint of milk. Realizing that when you was a kid that you didn't have, taking actions, being guided. One step at a time, just trust the process. The transformation will happen. Harmony will reinstate. Release will happen. Faithfulness and elevation will occur. And the voice of your heart will speak strong. Your intuition will lead you onto the gaff. Onto the gaff. Are you manifesting a gaff? I'm going. Right. See you later. Bye.